Hello and welcome wherever you are joining us around the world to Amsterdam, the National Rugby Centre, on a beautiful spring day. It's the final instalment of this year's Rugby Europe Championship. I think we've all just about calmed down from last weekend, one of the most dramatic rounds of this tournament that's ever seen. This weekend, this game today in Amsterdam, and then tomorrow Georgia plays Spain to see who will be crowned champion of this year's championship. But the result of last weekend's drama, as we see this year's table, is the fact that Spain and Georgia, of course, on the collated scores from last year's championship and this year's championship, have gained qualification to the World Cup in France 2023. Dramatic scenes all over Spain, in the front of all the newspapers, all the sporting newspapers. Rugby Europe really on the rugby map over the last couple of weeks. But there is still one more place to be decided from this championship. Third place, as the two captains decide who will receive and who will kick off.
So what do you want? You have choice of ends or kick. You want to kick? I think this will. You stay that side, yeah? Okay, so you'll play that way. Exactly. Okay, fellas. Good game. If there's any issues,
and it's the Dutch who will kick. And Romania choosing their ends. Third place, the overall combined tables over last year and this year will go through to the final repechage for the World Cup, and that place is firmly in the hands of Romania. Win today, and that place in that repechage is theirs.
Zane, today is the last game of this season's Rugby Europe Championship. Not only a debut for the team, but also for you. Yeah. How has the experience been so far?
Oh, it's been tough. I mean, we've had a lot of hard lessons, and we've squeezed 2 championships into 10 months, so that's been really tough for us, and we're looking forward to playing this final one at home in the sunshine here in Amsterdam, and then moving on to having some time off and then recovering before the next summer games.
And what would you like to see today?
Just really good, entertaining running rugby. I think Romania play a good brand of rugby. They're well balanced, both forwards and backs, and we want to match them in those areas and sort of put a bit of pressure on their set piece. So if we can do that, hold our own ball, and use the ball wisely, then we'll have a good day out there today.
All right, thank you and good luck. All right, here with head coach Romania, Andy Robinson. Andy, can you explain to the viewers at home how important is today's result?
Well, like all games, it's a huge game for us. We're representing Romania on the international stage, and we're playing a really good side in the Netherlands. But for us today to win, we then stay in the qualification process to get to the Rugby World Cup in 2023, and that's the key aim for us when we entered the championship, was to qualify for the Rugby World Cup.
And what can we expect from the team today?
Well, I hope that we show the same level of energy that we showed against Georgia last week, and to really take our physical game to the Netherlands. We know that we have a good strong maul, but also we want to get a balance to our game and use our backs and get our backs attacking. So I hope you see a good balance to our performance.
All right, thanks and good luck today.
Thank you.
The two head coaches, Zane Gardner of the Netherlands and Andy Robinson of Romania. They often say, don't they, that sides are epitome of the coaches at the top of the frame, and I think both these sides are very much like that. The Netherlands will try to play with width. It's way that they got themselves up to this second level of European competition, beating Belgium in that historic game, of course, and despite the scorelines against them in this year's championship, they've always tried to play rugby. When they've gone away from that, they really have struggled. But today marks a special occasion in the fact that no Dirk Dannen, the man who's been such a servant to Dutch rugby, he retired, and today another great of the Orange Men, Storm Carroll, retires. There he is, wearing 26 today. Proud for him. No doubt the emotions running very, very high out there with his kids. Storm Carroll, just 37 years young, after 40 1 caps, 42nd today. He will retire. Haven't brought Rachel Taylor into the conversation yet for Wales captain. Now one of the leading lights in the coaching world here in the UK. Rachel Taylor, this is going to be a fascinating game. Isn't it? Almost a contrast of complete styles.
It is. Good morning, Johnny. It's nice to be with you guys today on what looks like an absolutely stunning day in Amsterdam, and hopefully, as we've just heard from the coaches, there'll be some exciting running rugby. But yeah, both teams, particularly Romania, like great game last week, so hopefully they can carry that energy into this game.
They've battled very, very hard, Romania, to give themselves this opportunity. Only just losing out to Georgia in the last round, 23 points to 26, but they battled hard, they were physical, and today we expect nothing less. For all of that, of course, the anthems. More perfect conditions you would not wish for. There is this Romanian side. We know just what a physical, tough, uncompromising team they are. Mihai Macovei, the captain, epitomises that on the blind side today, moving across from number 8. And Kojikaru, the hooker as well. 4 tries already this championship says a lot about the way that they want to play the hooker, the back of those driving mauls. And Daniel Ply is playing number 10 today. No Dirk Dannen, of course, for the Netherlands. So the captaincy goes to Bart Veenenkaart, just 22 years of age, but in what is one of the strongest looking Netherlands sides we have seen championship, that back line with Daley Limon and David Veersma at 10. Up front, Niels van der Ven alongside Lewis Broesma in the back row. All Scottish official party today. Andrew McMenemy is the television match official. Ben Blaine, the referee, with Rue Campbell and Bob Nevins, the assistant referees. So here we are then, Romania to book a place in the repechage for a place at the World Cup. Their destiny is in their hands. A win and they will secure that. If that's not to be the case, Rachel Taylor, then I do hope you have your abacus to hand.
Probably a little glimpse potentially of the intention from Romania there. It doesn't look like they've got any intention to play out of their own half at all. Huge kick straight back into the Netherlands half to have the line out.
Got half Daniel will partner Gabriel Rupanu. It's Netherlands with early ball here. Good line out ball. It's not always been the case so far this championship. We've done a few of their games, haven't we? Do like to put some width on the ball. It's the physicality that they've struggled with.
Yeah, they have, and I think that's probably something that they'll be fearing looking at the Romanian performance last week against Georgia. That was just something that they matched the Georgian team for, so they'll have high expectations. But yeah, it's just how long they can keep that physicality and join the arm wrestle, really. I think they've struggled once they start to hit that sort of 50-60 minute mark.
Romania quite happy to run the ball as well. Pop up, straight through, off to his scrum half. Rupanu. And it's as easy as that for Romania to notch up their first try of the afternoon. New centre partnership of Papa for Ovasa. Very, very direct from Romania, but they saw the opportunity. And Florian Papa was straight through to hand it on a plate for Rupanu.
Yeah, I just talked around the defensive effort that would be needed from the Netherlands, and interested in probably just a slightly more direct route, but it's just a miscommunication really in the defensive line. It just allows them to have that clean line break, and then like any good nine, just always running that support line.
Yeah, the cheeky little scamps, aren't they? Scrum halves. Always goal hanging. Running that inside line, like any good scrum half would. You'll often find, don't you, a scrum half heading for a corner flag, one of the four, and they normally find themselves in those kind of support line. Jonel Malinka adds the two.
Yeah, impressed by his kicking game over the last few weeks as well, so it'd be interesting to see that probably the balance, if you like, in the kicking game from Versma and him. It'll be an intriguing one as the match unfolds.
Hope he's got shares in the medical supply store where he gets his tape from, because his knee is always very, very heavily strapped indeed. Jonel Malinka. 3 penalties and a conversion against Georgia. Open up with a conversion here. 130 points now, I should say. He was about to say 127 for his country, but 130 points for his country now, and his 21 caps. Really clinical from Romania as well. Netherlands tried to play some rugby in between those 10-metre lines. Lewis Brunsma, one of this sort of new generation of Dutch players coming through, these players flooding into the setup now with their promotion to this level of rugby. They're through again here, Romania. Tackle in the end. They've turned it over the Netherlands. Is there an opportunity to move that ball on the right-hand side? No. Viersma is tied up, so they'll just have to set up another driving wall here. Ruck, I should say. And we will go back for the knock-on in the end. But at will at the moment, Romania just slicing through.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a perceived threat on the outside that they're just thinking about, can we get a bit of extra width in our defensive line? But it's just allowing too many breaks, really. They've got to defend at least in threes in that area, always making sure they look after the inside cover. But yeah, just a dummy and it's enough to make a half break.
Just let you know some like strange numbers out there on the Dutch shirts. Caleb Korteweg, there he is on the left-hand side. Scrum half for the Netherlands, wearing 22. Kieran Hogg, there he is on the tight head side, a huge man. Played some rugby in Australia. Kalmununda, District RFC, hoping to shore up that scrum. Andrew Darlington on the bench today, trying to get that knee down, because then Romania would have to release, and that's eventually what Niels van der Ven has done. He's wearing 23, he's playing number 8, and Spike Salmon wearing 20. There he is, you can't miss him with the cultured dreadlocks. He's Jordi Hop. His household gives plenty to the Dutch national rugby cause. One of his female teammates, as it were, is in the international setup. Both wingers. How competitive the race is for breakfast.
Gas. Both got gas for days. Probably be a bit frustrated there, I think, if the Dutch side, you could hear the ref clear release, but they just did enough, Romania, to sort of really frustrate and slow that ruck down, and it's really difficult then to get out of it. But you've got to give them credit. They look to play massive pass, clearly, an option for an interception, but at least they're going to try and play rugby, and we heard that, didn't we, in the start? Like, they do want to play run rugby, so high risk, high reward. We'll see how it comes off for them.
Yeah, and we've seen some excellent rugby, haven't we? Yes, that Romania, Georgia known very much, Russia very much for their physicality, but the likes of Portugal playing, well, Patrice, their coach, always played the game, playing some really inventive stuff, and Spain as well. Of course, absolutely delighted as the rugby world is to see a new name performing at the highest level at the World Cup. Play some great rugby as well. The Netherlands, when they get the opportunity, they will do that. But at the moment, in the face of the wind, I think that's important to make that point as well, just all from the assistant referee's flag there, struggling to get out of their own half.
Yeah, I think, again, like just having a little turnover there, so another Romania error in 22, they won't be pleased with that. They want it to be clinical, but it just shows, the spirit, if you like, of this Dutch side, not to concede anything. We've already had a great cover tackle and now a turnover at line-out, but this is where Romania will be strong in these catch drives, these rolling mauls. We've already said about the hookers' score rate. They're just going to have to stay in these battles for as long as they can.
It's exactly to play with the wind in the first half. Romania, they wanted kick-off, didn't they, the Netherlands? But Vinikar deciding that. He's up into double figures now, the 22-year-old captain. Plenty of work on his hands right now. Another penalty conceded by the Orangemen. Costel Portilla. Huge tight head prop for Romania. Plays for Timisoara. Part of the Super League, Timisoara. 6 clubs in that in the domestic competition, but doesn't start till April, so game time has been the issue for Andy Robinson's men. The former England coach, of course, World Cup winning assistant coach Andy Robinson. Here comes the driving more. Lupano feeds that ball out to Papaya. Well defended so far. Jordi Hop is in there. Salmon is in there. Highly rated Salmon on the books at Racing 92, transferred from Toulon. So good pedigree there. Romania dive again around their right hand side. They are that close now. Is it one more pick from the forwards? Don't think it's going to see too much daylight, this ball. Referee is right there. Ben Blaine. Now slightly wider. They're lining up to score. All they had to do was catch it, and they couldn't. They let off for the Netherlands because that second try there was begging for Romania.
Yeah, I think it showed the intent, didn't it? Romania, rather than going for points, straight to the line out, straight to what they know. But what a massive defensive shift there from the Dutch side. Managed to totally nullify that driving maul and then to go through 3-4 phases of pick and go defence as well. They'll be really pleased with that. That'll give them a lot of confidence in their defensive set.
I'm just surprised at the detail there from Romania. And you would know, Rachel playing and now coaching. When you're playing against Georgia, perennial winners at this level of European competition, won the championship numerous times, you're going to up your game, aren't you, subconsciously or consciously? You come to the Netherlands and all great respect to Zane Gardner's men, but you know, they haven't won a game on the field this championship. The new guys at this level just tend to find that performance just dips ever so slightly. And I thought there with the pick and drives, the detail of players latching on and actually getting the players over the line was poor from Romania.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll have been frustrated with their last game against Georgia. Probably just that execution, the detail of the execution required. But like you said, this is a different mindset needed today. This is where you need that ruthless mentality of, get into the 22, take points, come out, get there again. And that's what they'll be expecting. But it's a sign of a quality team that can get themselves up for those games. So it'll frustrate them a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if that means that they go back to the things that they feel more comfortable in.
I absolutely agree that it's fair to say that the game was winnable last week for Romania as the Netherlands tried to clear their lines. 23-26 it ended up, but it came out very, very strongly. Now, there seems to have been a habit with this Romanian side as well, finishing games really strongly, second halves as well.
Yes, particularly for me, some of the forwards that really came into their own in that second half against Georgia, to complete 40 minutes of that level of physicality and almost that immense attitude that you just have to be so switched on against them for them to come out and to perform the way they did in the second half. It was really impressive. And we see some of those guys in the team today, but also looking a little bit more at the strength and depth that this team's got as well.
Here they come again, direct from pop-up. See one of the changes in this back line with his centre partnership. Now they go down that right-hand side. Dumitru diving, flying through the air and scoring. It's Valvasa for Romania. Try number 2. 13 minutes on the clock.
Just seeing those direct carries again, aren't we? Just managing to ride through the tackles, straighten it up, couple of phases open, and they swing it back to the blind. So good decision making from the Romanian attack leaders on the pitch there. They're just trying to move that Dutch defence around, and smart, seeing as the last couple of options that they've gone for haven't paid off. So nice variety for them in attack.
Involved in every game so far this championship is Hinckley Valvasa. couple of tries against Spain in that 38-21 loss. Trying his debut, in fact, against Uruguay. Back end of last year. Milinke from the touchline. It's no problem whatsoever. Certainly remember to pack his kicking boots, didn't he? Yolil Milinke. Another 2 points for him. Another 2 points for Romania. Fine, fine strike, isn't it? You tell from the sound.
It's just so relaxed as well, isn't it? It doesn't look like there's much effort in there, but it's a very graceful kicking style and almost effortless. But yeah, a great kicker of the ball.
Best often look that way, don't they? No effort. It was languid style. And they're just slicing through now. Ply. Daniel Ply had Rupanu on his left-hand side. Now the little scrum half's got it. 25th cap today for Daniel Ply. Rupanu. Cap number 12. There he is. Korun, the number 8. Come in this week. Moving Makovai onto the blind side. Rupanu is finding so much space, isn't he? Vaovasa! Straight through again, it's bobbling around and it's only Romania at the end who damaged the score, trying opportunity. Vaovasa and that midfield causing so many troubles for the Netherlands.
Yeah, it's a nice little combination, isn't it, that Rupanu and Ply just seem to interact well as a 9-10 combination. But I think this will be the challenge for Romania today. Yes, they'll want to put the tempo up. Yes, they'll want to get that ball in motion and try and cause as much havoc as they can. But it's going to be a massive test to their skill set because it's not their sort of normal style, if you like. It will challenge them. But it's good to see that they're doing it. It's just whether or not they can start getting this conversion in the 22. Because I think, judging from, you know what, Andy Robinson's already said, it's about being clinical and executing, and those are the things that will frustrate them. They'll be pleased that they're trying and they're experimenting, but they'll expect more to go to hand.
Good tackle from Veersma. It's exciting backline that the Dutch have today. At the moment, just not getting their hands on the ball, and it's the combination of Rupanu, Daniel Ply, the Romanian halfbacks, along with their midfield partners, Florin Popa and Vaovasa, causing some real issues. But Kortivek with the feed to the scrum. We're told to use it now. Van der Ven comes away with it. Now there's an opportunity here. Jordi Hop. Bouncing down that touchline. He is a very, very dangerous player with ball in hand. Need to keep hold of that ball now, the Dutchmen. They haven't. Back of the way of the Oaks, as Romania so often known as. Rupanu. Vaovasa just can't handle him at the moment. Dumitru. Superb score from turnover ball. Identified the space, didn't they, Romania? And we think they're going to be all about that forward power, the driving more, the physicality. At the moment, it is Romania's backs who are running riot.
They are, but they're just riding the tackles so well. You know, Vaovasa, you know, his centre of gravity, but it's so low. They're just taking the first bump, riding it, and he's just got the ability to shift the ball as well. So he's moving it through the contact, and like you said, you know, they've got support runners left hand side, right hand side. They're just flooding those gaps, and it's so hard to defend. He's in the mood today,
and
isn't he?
There is the bonus point. Sorry, Tails. Say again.
He's in the mood, isn't he, Vajavasa? He can tell he's looking hungry. He's looking for inside balls, making sure that he's getting lots of touches today.
He's back from injury from that Spain game a couple of rounds ago. Back in the starting 15, and he is causing real problems. Hinkley Vajavasa. Malinke with the conversion. And that is the bonus point. 3 tries or more ahead, and you get the bonus point in the Rugby Europe Championship.
2 lads. How many boys?
So as it stands, first quarter in, Romania take the full 5 points and a place in the repechage. As it stands, long way to go. It's a healthy wind out there. Would have said possibly a double figure point wind. As the scrum half kicks it 40 metres into that wind.
Thank you.
Skortivek. Boomsma. Tough, combative. Number 6 can play in the second row as well. Here's this back line that we've been talking about. The young Daley Lindemann at 12. He's a real handful. He's been used by the Dutch under-20s earlier in the championship. Now playing in the seniors, and they just get their handling wrong there, the Netherlands. Hugo Langelang involved from the Fleetwood Club in England, back in the UK. I have to say the improvement from the Netherlands. I've done quite a few of their games this championship and the back end of last year. I mean, it's been incredibly tough. I think Zane Gardner alluded to it in his pre-match interview there, that second championship in 10 months, only 7 weeks between the last one finishing and this one starting. Very, very tough for the new side within the competition, just to get up to speed with predominantly amateur players.
It'll be exactly that, the speed of the game, the intensity of the breakdown, and it will be markedly different, and that'll be a learning curve for them. But games fold into other games, so having to learn at that speed is very, very difficult, and it'll be a massive challenge for them. But like you said, I've been really impressed with some of the stuff they've done. Even there, nice long kick, they received the kick, good kick return, and it's just a small handling error. And I think if they can start to iron out some of those, like the finer details of that, probably link play between their forwards and their backs, they will be able to hold their own in this competition. So they've got to keep moving in that direction.
It's a really difficult one, is this Dutch crowd, and they're certainly enjoying their rugby. More and more people in the crowds at the National Rugby Centre in Amsterdam here. Getting that physicality right, you've got to be on a par, haven't you, physically in the game of rugby, and then using that style of rugby made them so successful getting to this level. We just saw a glimpse of it down that back line there, didn't we, from the Dutch? But it's Romania with ball in hand here. It's a more Niels van der Ven, Alco Bendas club man in Spain. A couple of players play their rugby in Spain. David Viersma as well. Turnover ball here. Nice pass, wasn't it? Van der Aviar, Vienenka, the captain. Nice flowing rugby now here. Some rhythm to it. Hugo Langeland gets himself in the way, though, the loose head. Not sure he was the designed recipient. Jordi Hop, still on his feet. Salmon, debut against Georgia now, just fresh into this team. Already putting himself around. It's slightly high from Matok, Adrian Matok, the Romanian lock. It's been picked up by the referee. Eagle eyes. I've got the binoculars out today, Tails, don't worry.
It's a good spot. It did just underneath his chin there. I think he was lucky for it not to be any more than that. But yeah, really fluent attack, wasn't it? Again, just that nice mix, looking to play out the back of those forwards. But for me, I just want those forwards to be a little bit, you know, more of a threat. They've got to look like they're going to carry. They've got to affect that defensive line in some way, shape or form. You know, if they don't, it's so easy for the Romanian defence just to keep coming high, which puts that back line a lot of pressure. But like you said, they're checking those wide balls. They're trying to get that balls. They're trying to get the ball to the guys on the wing. You know, that have got that pace and who are an attacking threat for the Dutch.
See Bruce Martin shot there with the creative hairstyle. Let's use that word. But he took that last time he took the ball. He took it standing still, and as you say, it's a big physical man. Needs to be taking that ball at some kind of pace. He's taken the line out there, but that's not straight. And again, it's one of those, isn't it? It's sitting in the stands as a coach, pulling your hair out because they've done so well. First bit of rhythm to their play. They get the penalty, go outfield, get the line out. We're deep in Romanian territory. We can make an attack here, but just get the line out wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that, isn't it? So the set piece, like how clinical they can be there, but it's probably like the continuity of just keeping ball. You know, how many phases do they go through before it's their own error that they're sort of falling short? So that'll be the frustrating part for them. But you're absolutely right. You know, you can see what they want to do, and you can see the style in which they want to play. And I think that's a massive thing for a team to have that identity. It's just going to be that they're going to have to just keep having competition at this level, keep being challenged at this level to get better and better.
Yes. Simeonescu is injured. And without his services today, and also Boldar Pohita injured his arm in that game against Georgia. No Jason Tamani either. Antonescu. Tovia. So there's a few injuries for Georgia, for Romania, I should say. A few people missing for the Netherlands as well. We'll let you know about those in a moment, because Kordeveg has the ball here. Veersma. Ooh, nice step. Nice bump as well. From Darlington. Tackle. Gurun is told to release it now. There's Darlington again. Nice work from Van de Ven. And that's Langelang. Front rowers with ball in hand. That's what they can do, this Dutch side. Very much the New Zealand way, the Zane Gardner, Kiwi himself, or every player with able to have ball in hand. Limman just had to tidy things up. Here's Veersma to Selman. Blake Nightingale on the bench today. I don't know how he's born and raised in New Zealand, but with Dutch ancestry. Let's pop my teeth back in. Brunsma again, 5-6 metres behind the gay line, taking the ball standing still. And it's a very, very easy target. It's a huge, great big orange target. And Romania have said, well, thank you very much. If you're going to give us those targets, we will hit them and drive them back. And that's exactly what they did there. But the Netherlands still with the ball here. Korteweg. Brunsma. Plays bumper cars with some of those defenders. What the Netherlands needed here, some possession, just to steady things down. 3 tries already. Milinke, boot to ball, says no. Remember, we're playing in your half.
Yeah, I think we just said around keeping continuity, keeping going through the phases, and I don't know if the audience at home can pick up, but there's someone shouting there just saying keep playing, and I I think that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a disorganised Romanian defence, but credit to the Romanians. That was just wave after wave, and they can manage it. And I think that's the struggle for this Netherlands team now, is how do they break that down when they're not winning that physical gain line battle. We see a little kick, and I've impressed a couple of weeks ago with the variety of the kicking game from Netherlands, and it might be that they have to put the boots aboard a little bit more, but we've already spoken about that win, so a real challenge for them now. Do they try and, if you like, embrace that physical challenge right on the gain line, or are they going to add a little bit of variety into it? But I think they'll it's a little settler. They've had the ball in hand, they've played through a few phases, and I think that'll just help get a bit of a feel for this game.
Still this campaign with a loss to Spain, 43-0. He managed to get a try. Dirk Dannon, of course it was, against Georgia, 72-10 in that game. It came Portugal, 59-3 loss. T. Campbell with the penalty. We're due to play Russia, but of course, not to say too much more about those. All level points given out for the games against Russia, who now banned from competing.
No, use it!
T. Campbell, one of those players missing Zane Gardner's men, alongside Wolfgang Dijk, Sialua, Coleman, Duplessis, Rademacher, Pete Lyon as well, Mbao. This is probably the strongest line out the Dutch have put out in this championship. They're going to move Romania around, aren't they? I think that's the ploy. Try and get those heavy forwards, those heavy units that the Romanian 8 are, moving them around the field, and certainly they've steadied the ship after what was a turnstile first quarter for the Netherlands.
I think probably just that area, isn't it? It's like that. It's the decisions they've got to make now, and with that wind, do they carry it out? Do they kick it out? We've just seen a box kick probably go a couple of metres in the air. They're going to have to make these decisions, because playing at that level of intensity against a team like this is very, very demanding on your body, and their ability to keep repeating those sets will prove difficult, as we're seeing now.
Papaya down the left-hand side, he gets a penalty as well. Netherlands will have to be careful there in the danger zone. David Viersma, last man up, showing his captain's credentials, as Daniel Ply just puts that ball out of touch. The ability to shift that ball out of the contact has been a real hallmark of this performance so far, Rachel.
It has, yeah, and I think it's just been able to be almost ride that first initial tackle, isn't it? But it's the support play that's been impressive. They've got somebody there to offload it either side, left, right. It just gives them attacking options.
Kojikaru, ball at the base. 4 tries already this championship. You would have bet against it being 5. And there it is. Oh, they do love a driving line out, the Romanians. Try number 4.
It's a nice setup, isn't it, on that catch drive? You can tell that's something they're so confident in, and probably you can see that from the amount of tries that they scored, particularly Kojikaru. But I think they're just so the speed to set. It hasn't got to be a particularly imaginative line out if the defensive team stay down, but it's all about how fast they can get into that position, and they seem so comfortable in that area of the park.
Just a tiny, they're not reinventing the wheel here, are they? But just a tiny variation. The Netherlands would train all week about defending that driving maul. The driving maul comes off, all men against it to try and push, and then bang, Kojikaru pops off the back. Just a slight variation.
I think that's where you get that probably a variety that you can add to those once you've got the initial catch drive so comfortable, from 1 to 5 or 1 to 8, if you like. You can start looking at those little break-offs. It might be a bust blindside, it might be wide. So that'll give them lots of options, and I think that's something that has been quite impressive, particularly against Georgia, is the variety in which they used.
Possibly too casual there. Yoel Milinke. Timasura man couldn't add the 2 points. They get a foothold here, Netherlands. This is the 9th game between these two sides. Romania won all 8 before.
Don't change. Just don't change.
Striking up just 56 tries in the process. Average of around 7 a game. Already 4 today. Last time the net was 56-15 win for Romania in Bucharest. Penalty at the scrum.
Yeah, we've mentioned, haven't we, just that variety of kick-off they've had. They've had a couple long. This time just hangs one short, allows that defensive line to real put some pressure on, and it's worked for them. You know, again, mixing it up. They'll be really pleased with having a penalty from scrum. Not sure what the referee's signal was there, but they'll take a lot of heart from that, and great to see that them taking the initiative of just going straight into the corner.
That is huge for the Netherlands, isn't it? Take on the opponent where they are strongest. Try and beat them in that area. Exactly what they've done there. Got to get the line out right, though. They do. Hugo Langelang was round the front, and they've sucked down that blind side. Dutch players all celebrating. Let's have a look on the replays here, because you often tell from players' reaction, don't you? And if that reaction is anything to go by here, it looks like a try, and it was neat, it was cute, it was cheeky. It was unexpected. And it has been given by the officials, it looks like.
He's looked lively, hasn't he, Salman, all game. He's such an aggressive carrier, but exactly talking around that variety of what the Romanian front, pack can deliver, and that 8 can deliver. Straight away, we see an opportunity from the Netherlands. Romania stayed down in that drive, but it's a very, very clever little shift play. So they move the point of contact, and it's just allows them to get a little bit of front forward. But quite a smart decision to break. If he hadn't have scored, I'm sure his pack would have been a bit angry with him. But see now if he can just places it in the corner.
Thanks, mate.
Just put it again, because that's a heroic finish from Salman. Brilliant stuff. Their second try of the championship to the 20-year-old. There he is. Bohemian hairstyle for a Bohemian city. Just slightly unexpected, wasn't it? Salman just breaking off, and he had to score. Boy, oh boy, did he have to score. As you said, Tails. Yes, my understanding, every point is important. Set himself, but wrong side for a right-footed kicker. Remains 5 points to 28 to Romania. needed that, the Netherlands. Just going to say, when they had the penalty right in front of the sticks, do you go for 3, get yourself off that 0? It's psychologically quite damaging, isn't it, to go in a half with 0 on the scoreboard. But they went for broke, went for the 7-point gamble, came away with 5.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it will give them a bit of heart of how they've tried to play this game, to get something from it. And I think if they'd have just gone for 3, it might have been a bit safe. But we said about him breaking from that catch drive. I think if he hadn't have scored that, the rest of the pack would have been absolutely livid with him. But he does well to ride that tackle, and it looks like a one-handed placement right in the corner. So fair play to him. They'll be pleased to have something before the half.
Fair play to the cameramen in Amsterdam, grabbing those shots, because could there be more in that corner? Salma with a try then for the Netherlands, and then a mistake from the restart as well from Romania. Gives this scrum back to the Netherlands. Veersma, lovely pass, isn't it, to Jordi Hop. Tall, rangy player, full of pace. Now they move it back on the left-hand side. One floated over the top. Right to left from the Netherlands. Need to keep hold of this ball. Need to keep this rhythm going. It's a fine passage of play the last 5 or 6 minutes for the Netherlands here. Veersma uses one of the forwards. Huis, Marin Huis. Half of caps to his name. Veersma again. They look inside for Jordi Hop. Oh, he's going through Jordi Hop. Now he uses the power. Tried to give the pass away, and he gave it to a Romanian. What an opportunity gone begging. Still there though for the Netherlands though, and this game breaking up. That's the way they'd like it. Here's the captain, Vinegar. Lindman. Huis, Veersma, Langelaan. Netherlands here pouring forward, demanding a penalty from Popper, who's warned by the referee. Veersma, long floated one out to Jordi Hop. Here's Salman. Confidence now. Salman has broken away. Looking around him for support now. The Netherlands. Numbers on that left-hand side. Blumen. Speed of the ruck has increased incredibly for the Netherlands. Langelaan. Romania have done well to slow that ball down and not commit too many to that ruck. Veersma dummies the kick as Darlington has dumped on his rear. Huis has Hogg in close attendance, but Romania looked to have turned that ball over. Got to release, said the referee. It was Vasily Balan. And what is a breathless piece of play. Ends up in a penalty for the Netherlands.
Oh, I love that. Jordi Hop, I thought he could have gone. I don't think he needed to even try and pass. Just get your head down and go, and it just a slight interception there, but they do so well, they keep that continuity of attack. There's loads of movement in it, but yeah, almost looked like they were getting a little bit tired. They had another little break on the blind side. They'll be really pleased with that last few phases for sure, and to come away with the penalty just gives another opportunity to get into the corner.
So go to the other corner this time, and Salmon can try scoring with his left hand rather than his right, squeezing in. There is the try scorer. He is growing more and more into this game, and I think I mentioned earlier, he's part of this sort of new wave of Dutch player. Yes, they're seeking people who possibly didn't know they had some Dutch heritage, and Spike Salmon is one of those. Got a call out of the blue. He was talking to a friend in a rugby club, saying he had some Dutch heritage, and that got back to the management in the Netherlands, and he got a call out of the blue. Would you like to come and have a trial with us in Amsterdam, and lo and behold, here he is scoring tries in the Rugby Europe Championship.
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's tall. He hasn't got probably the biggest frame, if you like, but the way in which he adds intensity to both his ball carries and his defensive sets, you know, that's what you want to see. You want to see somebody, you know, particularly from the back row, with that sort of mentality. It's brilliant to see.
One of you needs to be in. Come in, please. Move in. Thank you. Hold, lads.
Trying that driving line out again. Taking on water here, Romania. They've shifted it towards that touchline. It's a great counter to drive, isn't it, from them? Just need possession here, the Netherlands. Some composure. Kortevek under pressure, the scrum half. So talking about this composure here. Oh, they've gone straight through. Oh, it's brilliant. Thought the opportunity had gone for the Netherlands. But no, it is there, and they scored the second try in this game against the win, against the run of play for a majority of this first half. And Christopher Raymond, who made his debut against Russia, comes out of absolutely nowhere.
As you say, Johnny, I think it's almost looked as if that opportunity had passed, didn't it? You know, I like that they went for you know, almost like a straight catch drive, just changing the picture again, but slightly out-muscled in that defence from Romania. But I'd have thought they'd wanted to play tighter from there, so you generally you'd watch those orange shirts come a lot closer, probably pick and goes, little lifts, just to get beyond the defensive line. But instead they looked to go wide, and that gave a threat for Romania to come in and be a pain in that breakdown. But actually the opportunity really just opened up for Raymond, didn't it? Because they'd all sort of looked into that ruck, and he was very smart, just picked round the edges. And you know, this is exactly what they'll want, you know, putting a little bit of doubt into the mind of the Romanians.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Especially when he scores like that.
This. Yeah, indeed so. And he scored the second try. They've not scored 2 tries in a game all championship. The Netherlands, superb from them. Back end of that first half, Romania with 4 really quick tries, but the Netherlands have come right back into this game. What a fascinating second 40 minutes we have in the Netherlands. Do join us at half time. It's Netherlands 10, Romania 26.
Alright? It'll be alright on your side. Oh no, you're on that side. Hi. There's a lot of them. See that? Yeah. Hi. Alright. Enjoy. Yeah. Cheers, Bob. Which way are you going? Going left? Okay. Advantage. Stay on side, lads. Stay on side.
Great level of intent there from Romania from the kick-off, just forcing some really strong carries, but just turned over on the goal line, and they'll be pleased with that. The Netherlands, you know, they won't want to come out and concede that early on in the second half.
Yeah, that'll be you, bud.
Just knocked out of his hand there in the carry. That's why we always say carry the ball in two hands.
No.
Just looked as if that Romanian catch drive just started to break down there. No words of use it from the referee, but just created into a maul, which means if the Netherlands can hold that up as a packet, they get their put in from the scrum, so they'll be pleased again with that. Looked like it had a bit of a rumble on that maul, but again, just saved.
Good shape, good height.
Well, apologies. A few gremlins in the system. Just missed the beginning of that first half, and apologies for that. A bit of defensive work from the Netherlands, isn't it? From that kick-off. Want to start this second half. Just 14 points down. Not conceding early points like they did at the beginning of that first half. 4 very quick tries from Romania, who we must just refresh your memory, if you needed it at all, an opportunity to get to the final repechage for the World Cup in France 2023 is in the hands of Romania. Qualification, we know, over the last 2 seasons, Georgia and Spain already there. They meet tomorrow for the title of Rugby Europe Championship winners of 2022. They're both already through. Portugal on 26 points, but they've already played their 10 games, as it were, and Romania, this is their 10th game on 23 points. So that's how tight it is. No one else able to catch them. And Andy Robinson's men here, the former England Open side, wants to start this half, I would have thought, with a real bang. And they have. Andre Gurun scores the try. Well, I thought the referee had indicated a try there, but he's coming back for the penalty, it looks like. 5 metres out.
Side entry.
Side entry from Hugo Langeland.
No, we're good, mate.
They go to the line out again, Rachel Taylor.
Okay, here we are.
Yeah, just mentioned around how important it was that the Dutch can hold out just in these early stages of the second half, but some immense pressure coming on from this Romanian pack now, forcing Darlington up at the scrum, which causing a scrum penalty, and this will be the second catch and drive they're going to have to try and defend.
That's one stop. That's White on the floor. White on the floor. Backwards.
Go backwards, says the referee. So Papaya has to come in. Let's tidy things up. Garud over the ball. It's brilliant work from Raymond. Christopher Raymond scored right at the death of the first half. And he's come in there. And that's brilliant open side work. He got 7 on the back, and that is textbook stuff. Something you would have appreciated, Rachel Taylor.
Oh, I do. I massively appreciate that. Just strength in having a little bit of competition over the ball there as well. Nice wide stance, but for me, it's just that real clean pull of the ball. Just gives a real referee that picture that they're looking for, that you've got hands onto that ball and that you've got had a jackal opportunity, and great time to relieve some pressure for them as well.
Smart. Replaced by Raymond, wasn't he? Right at the end of that first half, and Raymond making an impact straight away with that try. They've got the wind behind them as well. This is a fascinating game, and all that pressure. I remember interviewing Andy Robinson for many years when he was in charge of Bristol Bears Club in the south west of England, when they were in the Championship, the second level of English club rugby. Their playoff system to get to the Premiership. And he always said that pressure is a privilege. Didn't deal with it particularly well in those Bristol days. Unable to get to the Premiership a few times. But all the pressure is on Romania here, isn't it? And we spoke just before we came on air, didn't we, Tales? He said, be wary of the team. There's nothing to lose, and that's exactly where the Dutch are.
They are, and it only takes a couple of tries, you know, and you can start having that doubt. And you know, I think you mentioned maybe they've had some big victories against the Netherlands previously, you know, so it's a combination of that and then just not quite being in the moment, and suddenly, you know, you've got that fear.
And they put some real pressure on that scrum as well. Kieran Hogg has come in, he's a huge man, 140 kilograms, and he's caused Romania some issues. Gregor Schur, 3 years of age, but right to start his international career, just today, he's already 5 tries. CSA COA Club. Rupano Using Popper again. 20th cap today. Very evident in the first half, as was that man. Vato Vasa, he's a sort of offloading machine, isn't he? Manu Tuolangi, very Vakatawa type character in the midfield there for Romania. Always looking to get his hands free and that opportunity to shift the ball.
Yeah, I think we can just see him there, can't we? One-handed, just trying to look for that almost little American basketball sort of little lift over the top, but massive threat for them in the midfield.
Happy? Crouch! Bind! Set! Top his leg! Hang on! Charge down! Okay. No? Okay, man. Alright, time off, lads.
It's a new guy, but he's
You think he's on the angle? Just make sure you've got a shoulder for him to go against them, alright?
That's exactly where the Netherlands want to play the rest of this game, wasn't it? In Romanian half, as one of the Romanian players down. Alex Gordos is on the field now. A few replacements being used now by Andy Robinson. We came in after Romania failed to reach the World Cup in 2019. First time in history that not got to a World Cup. Needed to work on their set piece and basic catch and pass and how to dominate collisions. He's done some fine work with them.
Alright.
Mark Coburg looking to come on and win his second cap. The youngster, just 23 years of age. Playing well in the Super Cup for the Delta, the Dutch team within that competition.
Yeah, good shoulder. Nice and square. Okay, lads.
Very good against Iberians, if I seem to remember correctly. Fabulous intercept for a Mistu try.
Bind!
Mistu a fly half for Coburg. Very much a scrum half. Caleb Kortiveg still the man at scrum half, and the Netherlands have been very, very happy with their work at scrum. Van der Ven put under pressure though. Lindman gets that ball moving. Blumen. The Dutch are not done here. And Van der Weyer screaming for the ball on this left-hand side. Van der Ven. Wiersma. Van Oort up from fullback. Here is Van der Weijden. 2 intercept tries last season. Try against Romania last year. Wiedenkamp. Utveg. Veersma just using some of the forwards. Huis was in there, the big second row. Here he is again, offering himself. And it's the Netherlands who are looking to dominate those collisions, and Korteweg goes over the top, and it's a very, very easy mark for a man of Milinke's quality. Was that the right option, Rachel Taylor?
Yeah, I was just liking them keeping ball in hand again, just looking like that, getting that fluency in attack, and nice use of forward runners. We spoke about them being a bit static earlier. They're just trying to get that in motion, and they'll be pleased with that. They needed a little bit of time ball in hand, but the frustration will come from not the variation of the kick necessarily, but they need to have somebody up there, you know, up in the air, challenging, putting pressure on that catcher when it happens.
Okay, number 2's coming in, number 11.
We'll see him back now.
11.
Here is Caleb Korteweg. This box kicking game has brought a slightly different element to the Dutch team. The Sterling County Glasgow Warriors man. He is off now.
You good?
Replaced by Mark Coburg.
Okay. Just a free kick, remember, all right?
Blake Nightingale has come on as well.
Okay.
He's an out and out open side. Rugby Club Gui. One of the big clubs in the Netherlands. Good defence from the Netherlands, isn't it? Stopping Romania in their tracks. Where Romania, for the first 25-30 minutes, very much won every single collision. It is now the Dutch who are beginning to just twist the physical screw here. It's not what we possibly would have expected.
No.
Milinke off from fullback to play scrum half. Referee's whistle's gone though. Accidental offside, scrum down to Romania. You can see from the flags on the far side there just how strong the wind is. Perhaps that was in Korteweg's mind when he put that kick through for that easy mark from Milinke. And one of the flags, you can see on the right-hand side there, the Ukrainian flag. We must just say that Rugby Europe set up a crowdfunding page for the Ukrainian rugby community in support of not only the Ukrainian rugby community, but the people of Romania as well, as we all are. So go on to Rugby Europe and search for that crowdfunding page if you have anything spare to give. Any tiny little bit would help. Good initiative from Rugby Europe. Andre Goron at the base of the scrum. They got that scrum right, didn't they? And then they sweep forward here. Romania. Play on, said the referee. Milinke. Lovely little stab with the foot, wasn't it? Brilliant footballing work. And again at ease, Romania with the tiniest bit of possession, and they slice through the Netherlands.
In and then push, not in and push. All right.
It's just that platform again, isn't it? Just such a steady platform for them to unleash those backs. But great defence against from the Netherlands. They're spotting any opportunity of an isolated runner and just sticking somebody over, and it's just enough to frustrate them at the breakdown.
You've got to hold the weight. Hold the weight and meet them. Yeah, orange ball.
Change at scrum half for Romania.
Okay. Come on.
Sorukur is on. Florian Sorukur, 37 years young, winning cap 96.
Set. Advantage knock on.
Brilliant servant to Romanian rugby that he is.
No hands. Advantage over.
Straight into the action. The 37-year-old.
Off his leg. It's off his leg.
Referee says play on, it's come off the leg.
First man.
Brilliant work, isn't it, from Salmon, who comes away for the Netherlands. Just not having it all their own way here, the Romanians. And it'll be frustrating them, won't it? Yes, they're ahead on the scoreboard, but not by a huge amount. And playing into what is a very, very strong wind. And the Netherlands certainly just beginning to really pile on some physical pressure to this Romanian side. One of the Dutch players down.
That's much better patience on the. That's much better on the hit. Yeah.
And here's Spike Salmon. Sort of wiry strength, isn't he?
Okay,
Parasafe gets himself around the park.
You good, mate? Yeah, come on.
It's been brilliant, hasn't he, so far today? Just showing a few little bumps and bruises from the amount of contacts that he's had to hit.
And they have the penalty, and they will clear their lines here. Swirling wind going around and around the place.
Time off. Number 10.
Just getting into a slightly bitty phase of the game here.
I think it'll suit the Dutch, though. You know, the longer this game is a bit broken up, it can just almost frustrate Romania and that rhythm that they're going to try and pick up. And you know, if the Dutch are smart, they can just start picking off their opportunities. But they'll need to sort out the set piece.
They will indeed. It's not the first time that the Netherlands have struggled at line-out time. Alexandru Petru Bokur is on, wearing 22. Surugur, there he is.
Advantage.
Advantage. Vienikar, seeing the opportunity. Versma, which they want to bounce slightly more towards touch. Dumitru tries to run out of his own 22, and it's the Netherlands who will have the line out. Just didn't have the time to kick there, did he? And that is brilliant work for the Dutch captain, isn't it? Vienikar to keep that ball alive, and then Versma, all that experience to kick downfield.
He tricked so many steps in there. I think he outstepped himself almost towards the end, but I like that from the referee. You know, he's shouted clearly that they've got the advantage and they've gone with it, and look at the gains that they've got.
Dan Vedavia was the man screaming up after that kick, and no doubt, Rachel Taylor, you've said it many, many times to your Sale Sharks players in the north of England, where you do your club coaching, or some of your club coaching, I should say. The women's side, a kick is only as good as its chase.
It is. It's the old classic, isn't it? But we see it a lot more now in the game of rugby. You know, we always see this kick tennis stuff, but it's all about where they can find space, and a lot of that will only come from the amount of pressure that's exerted on the person catching, you know, and you could see it there. I think 3, 4, 5, you know, the Dutch players all just forcing an error.
Crouch! Bind!
Important scrum here for the Netherlands, you feel. Try and get this one right. Get some nice solid possession. Well, they have it. With Coburg. Now a little pod of forwards is just racing out there.
Yeah, what's the number? Yeah, he's coming now, he's come off.
Again, it's another one of those mistakes, isn't it, from the Netherlands? Give them another 12, 18, 24 months at this level of rugby. I'm not sure they will make those mistakes. But they had possession, they were trying to do the right thing and just knocked the ball on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's that, you know, you've got to give credit to the players. They're continuing to try to play the way that they want to. But yeah, it's just that level of skill set that they've got at the moment, isn't it? After, what are we now, you know, a prolonged period of time at this level of physicality, you know, it really puts those skill sets under a lot of pressure.
106 Rugby Championship game today. For Romania, 175 of those. It's the Netherlands 19th. So you can see there the difference of level of experience of competition at this level.
Alright. That's you, mate.
Started so brightly, didn't they, Romania, with that win over Russia, 34 points to 25. Backed that up with a win against Portugal.
That's one stop.
And a couple of losses to Spain and that tight one against Georgia. Just given themselves this opportunity. To get into the repechage. Dumitru, strong, powerful runner. Quite stocky winger. Winning his cap 55 today. Bokur, another player with, seems like he has his
No, you can't play it on the fly.
body weight right down by his bootlaces. Now it's the turn of the forwards. Surugur. Goudas was in there. Now Poppa. Dumitru. Nightingale is in there. Oh, I think Nightingale quite hard done by there as Korun takes it on, the big number 8. He's carried well for Romania this afternoon in Amsterdam. For Ovasa. Another one of those offloads, and it falls into the hands of Burik, who's come on the field. Now it's turnover again for Romania. Poppa opening up now this game. He approached the 64th minute. He's down to his knees, so player has to release here. Surugur has the ball knocked out of his hand. There's no Maro Toje timing there. And Romania have the penalty.
14 changes? Yeah. You 14? Yeah, change, mate. I don't know, use the high tackle. Oh, sorry.
Good break from
All backs coming in. People doing changes, sorry. You're saying them.
Dakur. Alexandru Petru. Dakur.
No, we're going.
Just his 9th cap today. Romania going back to type here, going back to what they know, going back to what served them so well. There's a pile up of bodies. The ball is there right in front of the referee. He says it's been held up.
Goal line. Held up. Held up on the line. Goal line. Held up.
Held up on the goal line. Drop out 22 for the Netherlands, and it's another example of them doing some great defensive work.
Number 10. 10.
And actually, again, a significant improvement from what we saw much earlier in the championship, as Storm Carroll looks to come on to the 20 field. David Versma comes off. And there he is, Storm Carroll. Rugby Club Haarlem will all be watching this. Wearing 26. Plus 11 onto that for his
Make sure they stay behind, mate.
years on the planet.
Yeah, no, you can go with it.
But
Stay behind, lads.
slight disagreement on a couple of websites. I'm going to go with the official Dutch website. It says he wins cap 42 today. On the World Rugby website it says out of 38, but let's give him 42, shall we? Certainly what the Dutch think he has. He's going to have to do some defensive work here. Brilliant from Sotogur back inside of Bokur.
Easy.
Out to touch in the end. This is a very spirited performance from the Netherlands. Can't get hold of the ball to send it downfield at the moment, but
Time off.
this is the time of the game, isn't it, when they have started to just struggle physically
Number 8.
with the fitness element of the game, amateurs against professionals. They've got to stay in the fight here, Rachel.
They have, and I think it is that level, you know, of amateurs versus professionals, but it's also the style in which the Netherlands want to play. You know, it's incredibly fast. It requires you to get, you know, speed of breakdown to be very quick, but also then, you know, to have long periods of play without the ball is very, very draining as well. You know, like to complete repeatedly defending sets, you know, but this interestingly is sort of the time of the game where I thought Romania really stepped up a gear against Georgia last week. So
yes,
be probably quite important next sort of 5-10 minutes of this game just to see if the Netherlands can hold it out. But you know, the way that Romania are mixing some speed at this attacking line with the likes of Baku now and Dimitri, you know, it's a massive danger area.
13-21 was at half-time last week against Georgia. 23-26 it ended up. Scoring 10 points to 5 then in the second half.
No.
Benny Coulson comes on.
Yeah, mate.
Middle of that front row for the Netherlands. Line out taken one by Matok. If Dimitruk was outstanding last week, haven't seen too much of the lock. Mikula's on, wearing 24 Romania as well. Sort of good, there's Matok. Bakour over the top of it. Dutch player lying in the way, and that's when scrum halves like to try and tell the referee they need a penalty. Andrew Matok again, third time he's had ball in hand in this attacking phase. Sure. Romania being patient here. Trying to use that short side, lovely quick hands. Brilliant quick hands, wasn't it? Valvasa. And in the end, Jordi Hop says, well, I'll just use the best defender in the world, the touchline, and push you out to touch. And there's a little bit of afters as well. Just tempers just beginning to just bubble up here, because Romania, I suspect, would have expected to have it all their own way, and that is certainly not the case.
No, I think they're just keen to have a little look at that challenge, just to see if there was a high shot there, just something that triggered a few people to have a small dispute. But I'm quite impressed by the Dutch defence there. They're just managing them, aren't they, touchline to touchline. Although Romania are, as I say, mixing that, you know, level of physicality, so a nice, close, tight runner, but also trying to introduce some of that speed.
He's tackled at the touch, red 14, so it gives him a pull and then takes him over again, which kicks it off.
Yeah, but it's just a bit of holding from each of them.
I'm sure we can
Nothing more than a bit of
hear on our coverage.
It's instigated by red 14. It would be a penalty at most.
Just hearing the officials, the referee having a word with the television match official.
Yeah, just have a quick word.
Yeah, I will.
Just having a look to see if there was any foul play. And it's Mark Coburg down on that far side, the scrum half.
Tackle! Stay on, lads.
Managed to recover here, the Netherlands, and send it downfield to the Romanian 10-metre line. Malinke. Valvasa. Again a handful. So is this man. Dumitru hands it off. Bakor into the corner. And half an hour gone in this second half. And Romania have the first points. Try number 5 for the men in touching distance now, with that place in the repechage.
He's added a lot of pace, hasn't he, Bako, since he's come on. Just looks very powerful in his carries. But yeah, just if there's a chance to look back through some of those clips, just look at the speed of ball in which the Romanians are able to produce. It's just so, it makes folding around that corner for the Dutch team so difficult. It's literally on a plate there for the 9 to get off the ground, and it's fantastic speed of attack.
I love their transition from defence into attack. That was a long kick out, wasn't it, from the Netherlands? There are 2-3 players back there anticipating that. Netherlands aren't able to get it off the field, and 45 seconds later, they're in right hand corner for a try. Okay. Oh! Off the right hand, upright. Unable to add the 2 points, but that's just given them a bit of breathing space.
When you're ready, mate.
Injection of pace from one winger. Right on his shoulder was Bakor, cap number 9. Scores a pretty important try.
Cheer, lads. Smart.
£31 points to 10 then. Final round of Rugby Europe Championship for 2022. And remember,
Come on, mate. Let's go.
2 o'clock tomorrow. UTC from Tbilisi. Georgia against Spain. Fascinating game that will be. We both know that they've qualified. They know that. But it's all on the line between Spain and Georgia. Here in Amsterdam.
Crouch! Bind!
Netherlands and
Set!
pressing. Reynolds did what they needed to do in the first 30 minutes of this game. Scoring those.
Advantage over.
Come down this right-hand side, again, fruitful area of the field for them. Coming back in to the midfield now.
That's ripped.
Pouring through on the attack again, down that left-hand side now.
Not in. Hold. Thank you.
Dutch has somehow got that ball back in the hands of
No, 7.
Marin Huis. Blake Nightingale was in there. And then it's Jordi Hopp who's come to lend a hand off his wing. Milinke is there. Nightingale again trying to work around the fringes. Raymond.
Stay there, lads. Stay on. Use.
Again, the Netherlands trying to run their way out of defence, and then Romania sinks an opportunity to turn that ball over. It's brilliant work, wasn't it, from Matok. I'm going to play his rugby in France.
Okay, we're going.
You can see, can't you, that decision there from the Netherlands. Do you kick and try and get out of your 22, knowing that if you don't find touch, you're just going to have that attack again? But just by almost keeping the ball 1, 2, 3 phases too long, and they're just turned over and puts them in a very difficult part of the field again, and they'll probably feel like they've just done nothing but defend for a long period of the second half.
How many, lads? 6.
There has been a rear guard out. Action from the Netherlands in the second half. Started that second half of the first half so very well. Scoring a couple of tries, but it's Romania, all Romania. Now in the second half, they're over the line. The referee can't see the ball down. Players now piling on top, as is the way, to stop all the
Time off. Come down. Calm down.
cameras being able to see whether that ball has been touched down or not.
Just a quick check.
It's a great line, wasn't it? Through the cameramen as well. Such a deceptive line.
Correct.
Referee coming over to the sideline to have a look at the pad, which is what's used. The television match official. Up on the big screen over here today. Just checking. Referee said potential knock-on from one of the players.
Hey Ben. Yes, mate. Got a decision for you. Thanks.
I'd like to think that would be the game, wouldn't you? If
okay, so there's no clear knock on, so yep,
no clear knock-on. This is Andrew McMenemy.
They've had a look, lads. Try's good. Ball's not gone forward.
Ball's not gone forward, says the referee. The on-field decision was try. Wanted to check it, and the try has been awarded. The bottom of that pile of bodies. That's surely now. That's it, isn't it? Romania do grab that place with try number 6 here in Amsterdam. Add the 2 points as well through Milinke. But they have had to work and work very, very hard for it indeed.
They have. You can just see probably body language a little bit now, can't you? In the Dutch team just coming out from under the sticks there. I think that they'll know as well that chance, or at least the frustration they caused Romania in the early stages of the second half, has probably passed now. And you've got to credit to Romania. You know, they've been on task, haven't they, in that department, and they'll be pleased to keep the scoreboard ticking over. That'll be something that they'll have probably mentioned at half time.
Yeah, they've stuck to the script, haven't they? Stuck to their processes, not get carried away with slightly more open and fluid rugby that the Netherlands wanted to play, wanted to suck them into. Michael Bow is on the field. That's a late official change. Not Penny Coulson at all. Dashu throwing the ball in there with the other Swan Vesta-like scrum cap.
in the 5.
Spreading that ball now, Romania, with some real confidence. Valvasa. Arthur put it on his boot. Parkour is there. Where's it going to bounce? Bounces into the arms of Mies van Oort. Carried over. Romania will have the scrum, but yet again, Valvasa in that midfield has been running amok.
Sorry, mate.
He's so strong, isn't he? Like, great ball transfer, really strong fend as well, and you know, he's a deceptive level of pace, hasn't he, as well? You know, he really sort of took himself away there, and I like the idea just to try and keep that ball alive. You know, they're able to do it at this point in the game, and probably a good option to try and kick it in field. It's been very impressive today.
You don't choose a man of the match between you and I, Rachel Taylor, but certainly be very much up there in the conversation, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. Defensively as well, he's been quite strong. You know, they've had a lot to deal with, probably as we sort of expected, really, from the Dutch to try and shift that ball, and he's almost that link point, isn't he, between the outside defenders and 10 and 12.
Indeed he is.
Held up there, lads. Back for the penalty. Red collapse.
We're playing advantage from the penalty held up. I've had various conversations with Zane Gardner over the course of this championship, and speaking about just playing for the full 80 now. We're deep in the 79th minute here, and the Netherlands are still there, still doing their utmost. Beaten again today.
I think they've been fantastic. Yeah, fantastic for me today. Like, you are seeing little, you know, probably more penalty count has just crept up, hasn't it, in the second half, and probably in sort of key parts of the field. But you know, you can't take anything away from them. They've constantly tried to stick to their game plan, and like we said, their style of play and the amount of time they've got to defend, is a huge physical shift for them again.
One final try then, is it? Malinke! Oh, he's held up against the post. That, I have to say, it's not something I've ever seen before. Tackle the man.
I don't think I have either.
That's extraordinary. And what it does mean for the Dutch is that they're coming away through David Lindman. Coburg moves into the midfield now. Traditional scissors there as Sure makes a tackle. Sure. Oh, this is good from the Netherlands. Wouldn't deny them this as Raymond coming through this, hands all over the ball. Brilliant work. Popper would have to be in that conversation as well, wouldn't he, of one of the players of the day. That centre combination have been brilliant. Piano Schisters up front would have something to say about that, I'm sure, but it's great work yet again. Here it is, Rachel Taylor, a first.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever seen that happen before in a game. But yeah, just so typical, isn't it, of the Dutch? What we're going to do, we'll try and run out of our 22. So again, credit to them for their ambition to play this late and this deep in their own half.
Yeah, from behind their own goal line, David Lindman says, "Well, just give me the ball and I'll try and make something happen." It's not a stop clock. The clock on your top of your left hand part of the screen. Running clock, so I would have thought sort of another minute or so left in this game. I bet the Dutch will take some confidence in this game as Romania, through Matok, 22nd cap today for the 25-year-old. Surugor breaks off. Combative and physical as normal, and Raymond has just ripped that ball away. He's been impressive as well. Dutch number 7, Mies van Oort. Where's this one bobbling around? Dumitru. Dumitru still spinning and twisting and stepping his way towards that Dutch line. It's come out the way of the Orangeman, but illegally so. Another penalty. It's all thrills and spills in Rugby Europe, isn't it? Never not entertained.
Little charge down glimpse there as well, but we've mentioned some of the potential players of the game, and I think you're absolutely right talking about Raymond. Like, come on, scored a try. I think he's got 2, if not 3 turnovers in this 40 minutes. It's a great performance from the flanker.
Hey.
And Solman before him, of course, as well. Like before, he's gone off. Another great game from him.
Running into them too. That's the kind of stuff I used to do.
And when you start to look at these pieces,
you came off best though, mate.
Of the puzzle. I mean, it's very much. We've already mentioned it, haven't we? Amateurs against professional players that are changing in the lineup. St Gardner in this Dutch side, through the championship players not available due to work commitments, club commitments, when the clubs have been getting towards the business end. Still those relationships just being worked out. The Dutch rugby, men and women, are on the up.
Okay, knock on, ball grounded.
Knock on behind the goal line, says the referee. No try there, nothing to see. And that is the final play of the game. Romania have done exactly what they needed to do. Win this game with a full 5 points. They now finish 3rd in the Rugby Europe Championship for 2022 and will go through to the final repechage to see if they can book a place at the World Cup 2023 in France. Not the most perfect performance from Andy Robinson's men, but in the end, they have taken the victory. 6 tries in all to the Dutch 2. Parts of that game, they were hugely impressive. Not so much their pack, Rachel Taylor, but actually out wider with the backline.
Yeah, really impressed by the Netherlands, you know, to manage and frustrate this team really for 60 minutes, but to start scoring themselves is something they'll be incredibly pleased with at this level. And like you said, it's just getting that balance for them now, isn't it? They need to keep putting themselves in this environment, keep playing against competition like this, because it's only better in them. You know, every time I've watched them over this championship, they've got better and better and staying in the game for longer and longer. I think you're right about Romania. Probably will be quite frustrated with the way that game went, but with all the pressure and all the heat, if you like, over the last week of whether they could do it, you know, at the end of the day, it's a result, and that's performance rugby, and they've got the points they need to go to the extra qualification stage.
You're absolutely right. It is a results-driven business, and it's Romania who win in Amsterdam in the final round of the Rugby Europe Championship, 38 points to 10 over the Netherlands. You can see, can't you, the crowd coming onto the field here. Plenty of youngsters coming on, merchandise being sold. Certainly an appetite. I know from the commercial side of things in the Netherlands that there is an appetite. Rugby, St. Garn, a very ambitious man, bringing in some great people into the environment to just raise the level of professionalism within it. And Romania, frustrating day for them really. Their pack was on top, and I expect when you come out of the traps like a greyhound, Rachel Taylor, that first 20-25 minutes when they were up 26-0, weren't they? The job was almost done from there. You can possibly excuse the lack of focus after that, or can you not, coach?
Yeah, with the coaching hat on, I suppose that's part of their game that they'll need to change, and it's going to be part of their game that they'll need to develop if they're going to compete further on, you know, particularly with aspirations of going to a World Cup. It's, you know, we talk about rugby being an 80-minute game, but it absolutely is, you know, and if you have lapses of concentration or of focus or of discipline, you know, at any level, good teams are going to punish you. And they were unfortunate, you know, fortunate, if you like, that the Netherlands weren't as clinical, if you like, in their attacking style today, but it could have got a lot tighter for the Romanians, and I think that's what they'll be fearing. You know, if they come against probably more experienced sides, they can't afford to have those dips in and out of attention and performance.
And indeed, not Robinson. So key for them, isn't it? Get back to the World Cup stage. And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? Children on the field, being inspired by the international thing in the afternoon. And there it is. There's the scorecard in the end. 11 penalties for Romania, 6 for the Netherlands. 2 tries. The Netherlands first time they scored 2 tries in this championship for Romania. And those conversions from their fullback, Milenke. Plenty of points scored in the game, but those score differences for the Netherlands, they will certainly track that. And when the dust settles here, and whatever the night here in Amsterdam will bring, I suspect they'll be very, very pleased with this performance. There was some real shoots of positivity. Let's hear from their captain now.
You've got some sore ribs. How do you feel?
Very proud of the boys. We showed some real progress throughout the comp. We showed it in our last game that we can play nice rugby to watch. We hope to show that next year more improvement.
And this season was your first season in a captain's role. How was the experience?
A really good learning curve for me. It's new for me, but I learn, and the boys support me, and credit to the boys.
All right, thank you.
went for the dead ball with the box back.
David Wielenka, it's a big shoes to fill, didn't he? Taking over from Dirk Dannon, a real hero in these parts in Amsterdam.
Dutch head coach Sane Gardiner. Sane, what did you enjoy most today?
I think the guys fought. I mean, we got in a hole early in the game with them scoring 3 tries, quick tries, and we just couldn't get out of our half, and then we sort of fought our way back and finished the first half really well. Thought we turned at half time with a bit of confidence and made a couple of mistakes, and then they sort of kept us in our half in the second half too. So at this level, you've just got to make the most of the ball that you get, and when we did do that, we scored points, and when we didn't do that, we didn't.
And what needs to happen for a sustainable championship future?
It's just time. We just need time with the players. We need to be able to look at the sort of numbers and prepare our players and support them in a way where they can compete at this level, because at the moment we're competing at this level in parts of a game, but we need to put that together in sequence of positive plays, and that sort of, you saw that sequence happen really well, like I say, at the end of that first half, but we need to do that for longer in the game. But I credit to the boys today. I mean, they hung tough in that defence, defended our try line exceptionally well in the second half. Really proud.
Thank you, Sane.
Sane Gardiner, the Dutch head coach, I think he'll be a very proud man. Certainly seen a huge amount of growth from his side over the course of this championship, still without a victory on the field, but certainly a level of performance improving week on week. Says time with the players. It's a precious commodity, isn't it? Time with the players on the training field, and then time playing at this level. It's the first time that they have done it back up to
Most captain in
level.
Romania, Mihai Macovei. How do you feel?
I'm tired after 80 minutes, but we think we start good. I think after 20-30 minutes, I think we put the energy more down, and Holland he come with 2 try in the finish the first half, and after I think he come in the game, and he do on second half very good, Holland.
We're impressed by the Romanian fan base that we saw here today in the stadium. How does this help you in your game?
You see, Romania it's big family, and everywhere where Romania he play, every time we have the supporter close it out in the stadium. I want to thank you very much because he come today to support us, and we dedicate this victory for the supporter.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mihai Macovei saying he's a little bit tired, but I suspect he will be very, very pleased with the fact that they have finished 3rd in the Rugby Europe Championship for 2022 and given themselves that opportunity.
Romanian
Two,
head
as we keep
coach
mentioning, because
Andy,
that's the story of the day,
Andy,
into that repechage.
on
Here's
the
Andy
win.
Robinson.
Thank you. We started well, 26-0, playing good rugby, and then we dropped off. Credit to the Netherlands, they put us under a bit of pressure in that last 5 minutes before half-time, but that really summed up our season. At times we played some really good rugby, and then we've looked poor at other times, and that 5 minutes before half-time was a real eye-opener for us again, where we allowed the Netherlands back into the game.
Before the game we talked about expectations, and you were expecting a balanced play. We saw a balanced play today?
Yeah, I think so. It's always, had a lot of possession. We mixed up our game well, but our hand catch was poor. We dropped a lot of balls. We made line breaks and then dropped balls. That's where we've got to be a lot more clinical, and I think it's a big lesson for players about how clinical we need to be.
How will you prepare for the Rugby World Cup 2023 qualification?
We'll prepare really toughly. We've got that in November, so we'll have some games in the summer, but we'll just go step by step, making sure that we work hard, and we've got to be fitter, and we've got to improve our skills.
All right, don't fold it too much. Congratulations. Thanks.
Andy Robinson there, the head coach of Romania, saying they will prepare for those World Cup repechage games physically, and we don't doubt you, Andy Robinson. Just some highlights from the game. It has finished up with Romania winning and grabbing third spot and that position to potentially get to the World Cup in France in 2023. The final repechage qualification tournament will happen in November. But there's some real highlights today that Andy Robertson can work on. We've spoken about that midfield, and at times you see the hands there from Valvasa. But it's just tightening things up, isn't it, Rachel Taylor, that Andy Robertson will be looking at? Fixable mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that centre partnership now together with a bit more cohesion around 9 and 10. And it's just time for them as well, really, playing together, getting an understanding of that variation that Robinson's after within their game. And from a forwards perspective, it's probably a little bit of the same. You know, how do they improve, if you like, their skill set in order to play that style of rugby, because they've certainly got that physical aspect of their game.
Yeah, those late 80s and 90s when Romania were a very strong side. That's what we came to know them as, that very, very physical side. They've added an attacking element to their game. That attempt came to nothing for Romania. They've got all the parts, haven't they, in the fullback, Melenke. They've got a great kicker, a real come follow me type captain, some real finishers, some impact off the bench. One of those players, Alexandru Petru Bakur, came on with some real vigour and real pace into that back line. And then the elder statesman at scrum half, here he is, Florin Surugur.
Felicitări, Mihai, totul e bine că se termină cu bine până la urmă.
Da, mulțumim. Important pentru noi este victoria, să putem să trecem la următoarea etapă, în lupta pentru calificarea la Cupa Mondială, pentru turneul din noiembrie și ne bucurăm pentru cele 5 puncte luate azi, cu un meci mai greu, cu un meci mai puțin plăcut pentru public, dar important este că am adus victoria și putem să trecem la ultima etapă.
Mihai, cum ai caracteriza acest parcurs? Ați avut câteva șanse în mână, practic, până la acest meci.
La siguranță, meciul, calificarea directă s-a jucat etapa trecută cu Georgia acasă. Eu zic că am avut un turneu bun, modest, cu bune și cu rele și sperăm ca următoarele 6 luni, grupul care o să fie pentru recalificare, să învățăm, să corectăm din greșelile care le-am făcut pe parcursul acelor 5 meciuri și să intrăm în calificare cu un joc mai bun și cu mai puține erori.
S-au câștigat și ceva jucători tineri. Poate să fie asta o experiență bine trăită de ei?
Sigur. Pe parcursul acelor 5 meciuri, cred că stafful a folosit mulți jucători tineri. Sper că au acumulat experiență pe acele 5 meciuri și în noiembrie, când o să fie turneul, să intre din prima 100% fără emoții și fără erori mari.
Mulțumesc mult! Ionuț?
Romanian interview there with Mihai Macovei for the viewers in Romania on TVR.
Ionuț, felicitări, în cele de urmă a fost victorie contra Olandei, un joc, nu știu, care pe alocuri poate nu a nemulțumit pe cei care l-au văzut.
Da, a fost un joc deschis, Olanda nu a avut nimic de pierdut, au jucat fără presiune, dezvolt, au jucat și de la ei din teren foarte mult din cauza vântului, a fost un vânt foarte puternic. Eu zic că a fost un meci deschis, frumos pentru public. Am învins și am luat cele 4 puncte ce ne-am și propus.
Le-ați luat chiar pe cele 5, ați luat și bonusul, o victorie care practic vă trimite mai departe în recalificări.
Da, o victorie, încă un pas spre calificarea la mondiale. Nu a fost o calificare directă așa cum ne-am propus de la începerea acestei campanii, dar o să luăm pas cu pas și zic eu că următoarele meciuri și în campania din toamnă, eu zic că o să ajungem acolo unde ne-am propus, așa, la Cupa Mondială din 23.
Cum vezi tu această campanie? Pentru că ați avut și oscilații și meciuri foarte bune.
O campanie, zic eu, destul de bună. Am arătat că putem să jucăm un rugby cu un tempo ridicat. Am arătat că avem calități individuale foarte bune. Rămâne doar să lucrăm la conexiunea dintre noi, dintre troacar și grămadă și să lucrăm mai mult la omogenitate, să zic așa.
Mulțumesc mult!
Mulțumesc și eu!
Succes!
Cut is the call, indeed, from the man doing the interviews. In the end, Romania winning 38 points to 12 in Amsterdam. And they book their place in November in that final repechage to book a place in the World Cup. Andy Robinson will be a very, very pleased man. Well, just one final reminder, Rugby Europe's drive to help Ukrainian rugby family at this very, very difficult time. Go on the Rugby Europe website for details of that. There is this year's championship again tomorrow. We'll see Georgia taking on Spain in Tbilisi. Join us from that one, but from everyone here in Amsterdam. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy the Six Nations, and enjoy the Rugby Championship game tomorrow. It's a very good afternoon from Rachel Taylor and myself, Johnny Hammond.